abusia for aha possible multimedia. Any day coins way a news updates near the ebabesom.
The legality of secretly filming somebody.
Entrapment.
Well, they've not looked really at the issue of entrapment. What they've said is yes, the secret recording of someone constitutes a breach of the person's privacy.
The ADB case.
No. We've had the ADB case in Ghana, Even the ECOWAS court was of the opinion that the secret recording constituted a breach of privacy. But then they have the exceptions. You understand? When it is for the prevention of crime, for example, when it's to expose wrongdoing, then they would give some exception. So it's a case by case, scenario. And so it depends on what it is it depends on the case you are bringing before the court. You see,
the kind of evidence
you understand. But it's not a carte blanche. And I think that people keep testing, people keep, interrogating the legal basis for some of his analysis actions. But you see, when Ken Agyapong also came out in the Who Watches the Watchman's bit, there have been genuine questions about what the motivation, you understand, has been for these exposés, and whether it is all about journalism. Because we've had scenarios where people have used these video recordings, sold them. You understand? Commercialized them. People have been sponsored. So, is it pure journalistic work out there, or people have used? I called it entrepreneurship, journalistic entrepreneurship. And Anas is a very good friend of mine. A lot of people don't seem to know that. One of the few people he would openly expose his face to. You understand? Or I'll pick up a phone and call him, and he'll return the call. So we are very good friends. So when we're having these legal fights back and forth, a lot of people thought that, we had something personal. No. For me, it was about principle, because at the time, I could see danger ahead. You see, I kept warning that, look, if you are not careful to lay ground rules about this so-called secret recordings, and we are not careful to be clear that, look, if the person, because you see, we got to a point where when we were dealing with this case in court, at some point, Tiger Eye metamorphosized into a private security company. It was no longer a journalistic piece. The more we kept interrogating this thing in court, we kept coming up with things that were very worrying. You see, I think a lot of people were caught in the euphoria. What's the word? Euphoria. Yes, that's the correct word. Euphoria. What's the word?
Euphoria.
I don't know how I'm making
Euphoria.
It's like
Euphoria. I insist on using that word.
Arad instead of Alad.
It was something new to us, especially with the judges. Yeah. I think we did not handle that situation well, and we are paying the heavy price for it. Sometimes I sit back because of what the kind of expense and the way we fought that thing all the way to the ECOWAS court, and the way it had to take Ken Agyapong to, I think a lot of credit is not given to Ken Agyapong, but I say that without Ken Agyapong, we would have had a monster. You see, Ken Agyapong, what Kennedy did was to, yes, it cost Ahmed Swale's life. Nobody, and I think that exposing his face was a bit of an extreme. But he forced us to have a debate. The Who Watches the Watchman thing forced us to have a debate as to whether or not this was pure journalistic work. Or because when we, the lawyers for the judges, were out there, people thought because we were lawyers for the judges and the judges had become, I kept warning that, look, it is not only the judges. Tomorrow, it would be somebody else.
You.
And so sometimes I'm very sarcastic about it, especially when it hits the political class. I am very sarcastic about it, because if we had laid the ground rules back then, you see,
this is what investigators
Exactly. And we say that and we gave him, even what made it worse, we gave him the Journalist of the Year. I sued on that issue. And I think Justice Derry deserves credit, even if we think that he was caught in a compromising position allegedly. He fought it. And I always am happy that he fought that thing, because you know what? There were some of the judges, okay? There was one particular one, Justice Eisiado, and I keep mentioning this particular case, that the person who allegedly was the agent that took the money to, or the gift to him, came out later on to say the judge never touched the money. He wrote a letter to the then sitting Chief Justice and said it, that the man never touched the money. I went to him, I went to a sitting room, he drove me out. The video recording never showed the man taking the money. In fact, the man got up from his sitting room and left. This was somebody who had just come back from his master's program sponsored by the state in Malta. You see, we didn't treat some of these people fairly. Some have died out of poverty, out of, shame. I'm not saying, look, if you have the evidence and you go through the process, you have the evidence, you take it to the appropriate authorities, it is dealt with in the appropriate manner, I have no problem. But this commercialization of the enterprise, you see, we had to sue media houses, we cited them for contempt, we did a lot of things, simply because I felt that there must be some rules and regulations guiding the use of such material. Because yes, if you have the material, I don't know, if you have the material, somebody is doing something wrong, the special prosecutor, look, it is because of those legal cases and things that has shaped the way we have. Other than that, imagine that Justice Derry, those people who have gone to court, Nyantechi Dems have not gone to court to challenge the propriety of some of the things that happened. It meant that every time Anas had these videos, he would just go out there, show them. They were sponsored. Yeah. Show them.
There's gate fee, right?
No, there was no gate fee, but there was sponsorship for the program.
Sponsorship, okay.
You understand? You go out there, you show them, people will throng. One of them, we had to sue the Golden Tulip to stop the airing of the program over there in Kumasi. So I am happy that those legal challenges have somehow made it a more decent enterprise in a way. Now there are rules. When he gets the thing, he has to take it to special prosecutor or take it elsewhere. But I think we need to do more. The Ghana Journalists Association needs to do more. The National Media Commission needs to do more. Because my point is this. I am not against journalists or investigative journalists exposing wrongdoing. It's important. But there must be rules. What I see is not journalism. It's entrapment. And I've been making that point. Look, if a politically exposed person uses his position, you understand, to engage in corrupt acts, there's a difference between claiming that the vice president uses his position to demand 200,000. Why don't you do follow-up? Go the full haul. Because we've seen those, when we look at the FIFA, and it's not as if we don't have standards. You see, sometimes let us not pretend as if there is not best practice. There's best practice out there. There's FIFA investigations. The journalists, yes, they got the videos, but you see, they don't just go in and then just create the scene. It is not about, they go the full haul. They make sure that they go out there, they take you on, they go to the next step. Without the final piece of evidence, what the person has said, he has said. If speaking is a crime, then our law should prescribe that when I sit somewhere and I say that, oh, I have access to the vice president, I have access. Miracle works in the office of the president. So if I see Miracle and I say, Miracle, look, I'm bringing an investor. I'm bringing an investor. You understand? And Miracle cuts his own private contract with me. I said, okay, when I take you to the person, remember me, oh, Charlie, my 10% is inside. Oh. If that conduct is prohibited by the code of conduct of presidential staffers, and Miracle engages in that, and I pose as a journalist, and I go all the way, and indeed, he's able to take me to the vice president's place. Vice president actually collects the money. I have the video. That one I will consider to be proper journalistic work. But somebody is there. He innocently engages in a business discussion. And then when he's leaving, you put money down on the table, you understand, and say that, oh, use it as a gift. And then we all jump and start screaming, oh, it is corruption, it is corruption, it is corruption. Now, when it starts to bite the political elite, you see the way we are all now seeing that this thing is. I've been saying that if you are not careful, one day, cabinet secrets of the state that will actually compromise national security will be brought out in the name of private investigations. But because it is journalism for pay.
But
it is not journalism.
Don't you think that Edubwane himself, when he got